doing another painting session, and to entertain me as I paint, I've got the best TV show on. Part of my DVD collection of Night Court. Awesome show. I just want you to know that. Has no bearing on what I'm doing, but it's an awesome show. Alright, so as promised, here is the entire creation of me painting the portrait of a teacher. Of course, it's been sped up, and I'll be popping in with some audio commentary, expanding on some things that you may be seeing here. So I hope you enjoy it. You see in the background there a sketch of Abraham Lincoln. Originally I thought it'd be nice to have a poster of Lincoln in the background to give a sense of what the classroom environment's like, but I ended up dropping this idea because I thought it was going to be competing with her face too much, so you'll see me later on paint over it. It was one of those ideas that sounds good on paper until you actually start putting on the canvas. It's like, nah, I don't think so. I really wanted to glorify my wife as a teacher, while also increasing my skills as a portrait artist. I wanted to show both passion and determination for success in the classroom. I found this to be the most important stage of the painting, and that was setting the light on her face. I wanted to have some strong darks, and then I needed the light to complement those darks. I couldn't have it too dark because otherwise you just have this black spot on her face, so it was very, very critical stage here, but it came out pretty well. It really established some good dramatic light on her face. think most artists probably start with dark and then work their way up to light, which makes sense because generally the darks are the colors that are found underneath, whereas the light ends up being on top. I mean, that's why you have highlights. So that's the approach I took here. I started with the dark shadows and worked my way up from the midtones and then into the highlights. So hopefully I've conveyed the feeling of she's very interested in what the students have to say and how they're reacting, while at the same time she is staying focused on the mission at hand, which is to deliver the lesson plan. You probably noticed, if you've been paying attention real carefully, that the background has changed a few times. It's not some unusual technique that I'm employing. I'm actually changing my mind a couple of times in the middle of this session, and I ended up getting the background that I wanted. However, I'm going to tell myself, and I advise anybody out there who paints a portrait, decide on the background before you start, because it sure is a pain to have to paint around your foreground object, your center of interest. When it came to this portrait, I'm very influenced by great portrait artists like Thomas Gainsborough. He's actually my favorite portrait artist. Then I also thought it'd be a fun idea to use the little Mona Lisa smile that Da Vinci used in his masterpiece, because the little smile in the corner there kind of gives a hint of mystery. And I think it makes it a little bit more of an interesting story. You might think, what's she thinking there? Rather than just a straight, no expression look, or an over-the-top, exaggerated expression. So I kind of like this subtle smile. I think it speaks a little bit, prompts a question or two. The book is another example of I didn't think out completely how I wanted the book to look when I started. I just knew that I wanted to have a history book. Originally I was going to paint this history book that she owns, but when I actually set it up I realized it's kind of a boring looking book, and I really wanted to make it obvious that it's a history book, and the result is probably a little bit over the top, but at least you know what it is. And I tried to select popular elements from American history. So I've got the Statue of Liberty, and I've got Abraham Lincoln, and I've got Martin Luther King Jr. And by the way, Martin Luther King Jr.'s face will change because the first version of him looked too much like Eddie Murphy, so I ended up repainting him. Well, my wife really liked this painting, so that's good. And I've floated around Facebook and on my fan page, and everybody seems to like it, so I'm very, very happy with the reaction. It's, highlighted her as a teacher and a good teacher, so it's served its purpose. I'm very proud of this, and thank you all so much for checking it out. And if you'd like a portrait, give me an email. We'll see what we can do. Thanks a lot for checking in, guys. We'll see you in episode 19.